A very important guest joining Shereen Bhan. The Revenue Secretary, Mr. Shaktikanta Das, is speaking to Shereen Bhan. Over to you, Shereen.
Well, thanks very much, guys. Siddharth, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. My first question to you, sir. The S.I.T has submitted its recommendations specifically on black money in stock markets on Friday, and it has caused a degree of nervousness within the markets on what the government intends to do with those recommendations. Can you share with us the measures the government is likely to take in response to the recommendations, sir?
Yeah, I think you have very rightly mentioned that these are recommendations, and the government will study them, and the government will also get inputs from all stakeholders, and government thereafter will take a considered decision. At this point of time, I would like to say through your channel that there is no reason or need for the market to react adversely or to sort of panic in any manner, if I can use that word, because the decision has not yet been taken and government will take a very considered decision.
What could be the possible timelines? You said that there will be stakeholder consultations. What could be the possible timelines by when you will start to take a considered view? Can you explain to us the procedure that you will follow from here on, sir, and the broad timelines?
Yeah, we have just received the recommendations a few days ago, and we are first internally examining them. And after that, within the ministry, of course, within the finance ministry itself, within the government, we will hold consultations, and also will take the inputs of the SEBI and the Reserve Bank of India and other institutions. And parallelly also, we will put it out. I mean, it's already there in the public domain. So we will sort of invite suggestions and observations and inputs. So timeline, it will be very difficult for me to give at this point of time. But definitely there will be wider consultation, and there is no need for the market to sort of rush into a conclusion as if, something has been decided.
If I could ask you specifically on some of the recommendations that the S.I.T has made, sir, specifically to do with P-notes. The S.I.T has not recommended banning of P-notes, but it has recommended that the SEBI improve or strengthen the KYC requirements in order to ascertain the eventual beneficial ownership of P-note holders, specifically with regards to ownership where only company names, for instance, are mentioned. The S.I.T has said that the KYC should be strengthened so that we actually find out who the directors and the promoters of those companies are. Also, the third point that the S.I.T has made is with regards to the transferability of P-notes, and has asked the government to ascertain whether this is actually beneficial from a foreign investment point of view. What is the government's view, sir, or the finance ministry's view on this?
You see, these are, these are wider issues. In fact, over the years, the SEBI has improved the KYC requirements, the KYC stipulations under the P-note regime.
Right.
But S.I.T has observed that there is need for further improvement. So these are issues on which, as I mentioned to you, we will study them very carefully, and then government will decide. So at this point of time, without going through the recommendations carefully, without holding our internal consultations and due process of examination, it will not be proper for me to sort of make judgments. But let's not rush into any conclusion that the government has decided this way or that way. The decision will be taken. Yeah, decision will be taken. And when, as I told you, it will not be possible for me to say so at this point of time. But,
I understand that, sir.
Yeah.
But if I could again specifically ask you about some of the recommendations, for instance, as far as inflows from Cayman Islands specifically are concerned, and the S.I.T has mentioned that it is, in fact, I think the word used was bizarre, I think, to suggest that the kind of inflows that have come in from Cayman Islands with a population of just about 85,000 odd people, would the finance ministry be concerned with inflows from specific jurisdictions, for instance, the Cayman Islands, sir?
See, we are now moving to a regime of automatic exchange of information, and irrespective of the source from which source from where the money is flowing in, we will now start getting the information. So as long as we get the information about the source of the money and about all the tax-related information, I think the government will be able to deal with the situation. And specific recommendations of the S.I.T, I would not like to comment before going through them carefully.
All right.